that in the intro video.
Oh, shit, we went live.
We're already off to a great start, everybody. Okay.
Damn it, hit the intro. God damn it.
Sitting here again talking about the same things.
Okay.
Shit. We cannot have fucked that up any harder.
Yeah, if that doesn't get you hyped, then I don't know what will. Welcome, everybody, to the first edition of the FBS Report, featuring your hosts, Mr. Squidtard Sports and my man, Mr. Red 5478. How you doing, good friend?
I am loving it, my friend. This is such an awesome moment for both of us. Honestly, it's a beginning of a new journey together as we go over what is the FBS Report, also known as, wait for it, fucking bullshit.
Got you there, didn't I? Y'all thought it was going to stand for something else. No, that is right. FBS with a fucking bullshit report.
The fucking bullshit report, indeed, because we are.
That's what college football is. That's entirely what it is. I feel like we hit it. I feel like we started this so great because I was trying to start out the intro and you told me right before to put it in the intro section of the StreamYard. And as I was playing, I was like, wait, what did he say? So I stopped it when you hit go live. We're really good at our jobs, you guys.
Yeah, totally. We're paid top tier to do this shit, you know. So like, this is you don't get any better than this.
And the payment that we get is your quality entertainment, and that's all that matters to us. Appreciate all of you guys for being on here tonight. We've got a great crew tonight, a lot of people in here, and yeah. I'm excited to get things rolling. First off, we did want to go ahead and shout out some people before we go ahead and begin with our show. And Red, I'll let you take things off right here.
All righty. So thank you very much to the Patreon members of the Red Army, Captains Malik Freeman, Champ Gold, Sergeants Jonathan Peck, TJ Stanley, Adonis Fanchen Shaw, Anthony Brown, Edgar Carter, Cameron Smith, and our private No Eat 'em on sandwiches. If you want to become a member of the Patreon Red Army, go to patreon.com/red5478. Squid?
Yes. And thank you to our members of Tardaria, the channel members of Squidtard Sports. A lot of names on here. Let me see if I can read them. I'm going to be like an auction guy. Tyler Heller, Jolena Renji, Rayman 99899, EVX, Young Man Connor, SEC Football 2, Manchester Toboggan, Not JFKH, Ashton Wilcox, Milton Butler, That Guy, Molnar, Sips, Armchair Sports Rants, Andrew Barber, Sven Kruzberg, Justin Ziegler, JS, Viper Technician, Brooklyn Polk, Sound FX09, Gazman Dory, Zach Niederhauser, Gamma is Cool, Gus Garvey, Justin Boatwright, and Amadar Gonzalez.
Not bad, Squid. Not bad at all.
And sold to me.
Sellout.
Yeah, really. No kidding.
Yeah,
well, a lot to talk about. There's always a lot to talk about in college football. We are less than 3 weeks away from the start of the season. I didn't think we'd get here this quick, considering how fast the offseason has flown by. It just felt like yesterday that your freaking Ohio State Buckeyes saved the day with Jeremiah Smith. But now here we are getting ready for week 0, where we get to watch Farmageddon kick us off. And then, of course, we get to watch the rest of our teams whoever's in the chat. We get to watch everybody become a massive disappointment to us. So it's good.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
very fun.
And it's not just going to be Farmageddon. It's going to be Irish Farmageddon, which is even more disastrous when you think about it. So it's going to be an even more. I mean, Ireland knows a thing or two about disasters. Just ask them about the famine. So this is going to be a great game. They will not be starving for good college football. I can promise you that. Kansas State, Iowa State, those are two teams that are going to be right there in the thick of it for the Big 12 title this season. So you can't get a much better kickoff if you're going to be going to the game in Ireland.
Oh, no doubt. And to think about, I mean, the Big 12 is sort of a flat out mess this year, and nobody knows who's going to win it. I mean, you can say that you have a clear cut team who's going to win it, but nobody knows. I think right now, I think Texas Tech is the clear front runner. If there is a clear front runner, because of how much they brought in from the portal, they have the most well endowed team in terms of roster of anybody in the conference. But here's the problem. Do you rely on Texas Tech to actually not screw themselves? That's the question that a lot of people have to answer. Can you rely on them?
Oh, no, Squid. You did not just call Texas Tech well endowed. You son of a bitch.
they're the closest to it. Who else is going to fit that?
Oh, God. I'm going to go ahead and just get the soundbite for that.
What the f*** was that?
For those of you that had to imagine that, sorry. Now, let me just counter your point by saying that can't. I'm sorry. Oh, no.
Probably not the best choice of words, but that's
no.
It was the best way I could think of to describe it. Not JFKH, appreciate the $10 super chat, says, here for the new podcast. We're glad you're here. Thank you very much for the super chat to start us out tonight. But I couldn't think of any other word to say with Texas Tech because they're the best roster, I think, on the team. Let's say it that way. They're
the best roster that money could buy. $28 million went into that goddamn team over the offseason. So without a doubt, yeah, they're the best roster you could have bought. But also, I don't think they're the best roster, period. Just because of the fact that they spent $28 million, I'm pretty sure they're going to wind up choking on it at certain points. I got a video coming up reviewing the upcoming season for the Big 12 entirely. And I do mention Texas Tech, but I think that they're going to be a good football team, and they're going to be right there in the thick of it. But I don't necessarily know if all these pieces that they rented for 1 year to go all in is going to be enough. And I'll tell you why. Their quarterback is not, shall we say, he's not at the caliber you would want a quarterback to be at with a $28 million roster underneath. He's not a Will Howard situation here. He's I think that he'll be great. I think he'll be having himself a record season. He's going to have the best season ever, but he's going to be overshadowed, I think. And I genuinely feel like that A&M is going to end up fucking the ball somewhere and losing too many games that they need to win.
Well, let me ask you this question because this is an important question. Do you think Stetson Bennett is better than Justin Fields?
Fuck no.
well, there you go. There you go. My point being, Stetson Bennett, nobody really thought that he was anything other than your average sort of quarterback. I mean, and if you think that he's anything better than that, you really need to check the foam in your brain. But he had so much talent around him that he was able to well adjust with the roster. I mean, when you got super talented players like Brock Bowers at the helm, the sky's still the limit, even if you have mid-level quarterback play. Now, that's not me saying Texas Tech is going on to win the national championship or anything like that. But Texas Tech has, in terms of just overall talent composite, they've got the talent to just slide through at least half of their Big 12 games. But because at this point, if they go anything short of like 8-4, Joey McGuire needs to go because then you're just setting yourself up for disaster in the future.
I agree completely with you, 100% there.
There's a Super Nuclear with a $2 super chat. Much appreciated, buddy. He says LSU at number 9 is FBS. Yeah, there you go. It is fucking bullshit. LSU is going 7-5. Mark my words. It's not the most BS thing I've heard because, well, LSU is, I mean, they just passed Texas Tech actually in terms of transfer portal classes. They've got the number 1 class for transfers, and they're a really talented team, but just like Tech, to a greater extent, Brian Kelly, the Burger King himself, keeps finding ways to shoot himself in the foot. And until he finds out a way to stop a dual threat quarterback, which I don't think is ever happening, if there's a dual threat quarterback, you're better off just taking the entire team, getting back on the buses and, driving your happy asses back to Baton Rouge, because that's exactly what happens whenever those two things meet. So it's going to take some major adjustments, I think, from LSU for them to actually do anything other than what they've been doing, which is your 9-10 win season, maybe make the playoffs, lose in the first round, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention they're hardly the worst SEC team that made that top 25 list. We'll get into it a little bit more deep later, but why the fuck is Texas A&M on the list at all?
That's the question I think a lot of people are wanting an answer for. Speaking of Texas A&M, this is actually a really big day for A&M fans. Did you know that? This is a huge day for Texas A&M fans because it is National 8-4 Day. A big hand for Texas A&M. The very special tradition of 8-4 lives on because it is National A&M Day. Should they go 8-4 again this year? Very well, probably. But yeah, congratulations to A&M. Another 8-4 season likely on the way.
They are very sticky about their traditions over there, and being 8-4 every season is a proud tradition for the Fighting Aggies of Texas A&M.
It's their best tradition. It's the best one they've got for now. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of SEC fans, some of them hopefully aren't in here. I'd imagine they've unsubscribed or just left a comment left because they need electric keyboards from how much they've been rage typing today. Today is the release of my SEC video, the Southeastern Conference Superiority Complex and Inferiority Results. And as I expected, just like with the other conference videos, you have a slate of very, very soft college football fans, specifically SEC defenders and garglers, who are extremely, not even just big mad, they're large, angry on an extent I've never seen before. I just got a comment, literally just got a comment from this guy saying, I'm 6 minutes into this video and I'm clicking off. I'm not going to handle this bias. It's like, you're the one with the bias here, buckaroo.
Yeah, for real. I was telling you before we started the show a little bit about when you were telling me about that, and it literally reminds me of when I roasted West Virginia just about 2 years ago now and made that 16-minute hit piece on them. How many old men were typing in the chat, don't you ever come back to West Virginia. I'll chase your ass out the goddamn state. You have to keep the name of the Mama Mountain out of your fucking mouth. And it's like, bro, chill. It's a video.
Oh, the internet tough guys who say, if I ever see you on campus, I'm going to beat you up. And then you look at them in real life, and they're like 700 pounds and a neck beard the size of Texas. Yeah, we're real scared, buddy. Ooh!
Yeah, and they got miners cold cough, and it's black lung, and they're just like, yeah, I'm going to get my cousin and our kids, and we're going to come down and beat your fucking ass.
Ooh! Shiver me timbers! Like, come on, man. The real goofy goober with the $5 super chat says Josh Heupel's going to find the Infinity Stones and snap away half of the SEC to win the conference. If I had the enthusiasm that you had, buddy, I wouldn't be sad and depressed every single day. I wish I had that level of enthusiasm because I don't know if that's happening. Even if our quarterback situation wasn't as bad as it is right now, I just don't trust Heupel in these big time road games. So, I'm gonna give my predictions in every single power team in video format, but I'm a little nervous for Tennessee this year, as you can tell.
Yeah, I would be too. I mean, when you lose guys like Squirrel White to the portal, and I mean, granted, you don't want the circus that's Nico Amalivia to, be distracting your ass all throughout the season, winning his Bugattis or whatever the fuck he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But like at the same time, having that instability at quarterback that late into the offseason can't be good. Just ask BYU. They lost BYU thanks to what happened there. But instead of walking on them back with open arms when they dismissed everything, they let him walk because he got his dick wet. So, like, that whole it's kind of comparing apples and oranges a little bit here, but it's also like when you lose your quarterback, when you lose your quarterback at that moment in the offseason, it is going to be a bitch. That said, Joey Aguilar is pretty much as best you could have gotten. He's a damn good quarterback. He shined at Appalachian State. Don't know why he went to UCLA and disappeared for a year. I think you guys are going to be okay.
I think he had no choice because he thought the moment he hit the portal that all these big name schools are instantly just going to be like, oh my gosh, take my entire wallet. But none of that ever happened because as it turns out, he's not a good quarterback. And so he had to settle with a lower school because he was going in. I mean, if $8 million or $2 million a year wasn't enough for you for mid quarterback play, what makes you think some of these higher echelon schools are going to be willing to pay more than $2 million just for you to go out there and overthrow screens? Nobody wants that. So you had to settle with UCLA because it's very possible that Tennessee could win off of this deal, that we could be the better team from it because Aguilar has shown, shining moments, but he's obviously shown some really bad moments, led the nation last year in turnovers.
Yeah.
Interceptions.
What are you going to do there? There's a chance that once he transferred over to Tennessee that he gets into the system and you work with him and you're able to find, some daylight there and get him to really improve. We're not going to know shit until we begin week 1 with Tennessee, but there's enough potential there for Joey Aguilar to be something. And to be a positive influence on Tennessee. That said, there's going to be some regression. I know someone was talking about how, Squirrel White going to Florida State might have been dodging a bullet. No, like he chose to go to the Seminoles and God help him for it. But, he that's his choice. That doesn't mean he's a bad guy. He wanted the dollars. So he went
right. My main concern with Tennessee wasn't even about the quarterback situation. It really didn't matter much who was behind the backfield. Tennessee, and a lot of people don't believe this because they're they're flashy, love the big plays, that kind of stuff. But we are a run in your face type of offense. We're sort of like Michigan, but with a better quarterback situation, at least in terms of what happened last year with Michigan. We try to run the ball down your throats like we did with Dylan Sampson last year. And in a lot of games that worked out pretty well, but we had to sort of do that last year because we dumbed down the offense to a level that Nico could play with, because we've all seen the film. Nico had more overthrown passes than I can count. He had one at least every single game. So, if Joey Aguilar comes out and he actually plays like, if he's the next Hendon Hooker, comes in and he's able to hit those deep bombs, then we could see a revitalized Tennessee offense. But it's all a big what-ifery at this point, like a lot of other things in college football.
Yeah.
Speaking of what-iferys, I got the coaches poll pulled up. I want to take a look at that release today. And as you would expect, a lot of people are not too happy about it. I mean, we sort of expected that to be the case. There's always got to be something that people are mad about. But yeah, here is the coaches poll that came out today, and no surprise, at least in the top 5. They ranked your defending national champs. They ranked them.
Yeah, they should have put us number 1. The cowards. They all sucked off Arch Manning real good there, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly tried their hardest. I do think Texas is the best team though right now in terms of talent, and it really doesn't have all that much to do with Arch. It has to do with what's around them. They have a super strong defense, really good receivers. They're probably the most well-endowed team in college football right now.
Hell no, Squid. No. You better quit this shit right now. I will drop the hammer on your ass. You understand me? We're already walking the line with YouTube by you having me on this show, okay? You don't have to make it worse and pour jet fuel on the sumbitch.
Well, no, YouTube added a new thing just now where now, even in the first 13 seconds of a video, you can say hard cuss words like fuck. You can say that stuff. not get demonetized. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah,
well, we're testing it tonight.
We sure are. Anyway, though, Ohio State isn't all that far behind Texas, just in terms of talent. So sitting there at number 2, Penn State 3. We kind of all expected that. Penn State's got a super
channel. A friend of the channel just messaged Bull Muscle, local A&M fan. Please stop DMing me. Happy 8-4 day. I get it.
Do you though? Do you though? That's the question.
Everybody in the chat tell Bull Muscle happy 8-4 day and that we love him very much.
I'd get you a cake if I could. A good nice 8-4 and a picture of Jimbo Fisher on there.
Yeah, we'd have to ship it to Hawaii. I don't know if it will still be good by the time we got there, but if you want to make the attempt, I'll try to figure out how to get it to him.
Nice. Well, yeah. Anyway, Penn State 3, Georgia 4, Notre Dame 5. We got sort of all the expected teams here in at least the top 8. Alabama has a lot of favoritism towards them because of what they're bringing in. Oregon, they've still got a lot of talent. It's the quarterback situation that's most concerning for them, but they're holding on. We'll see what Dante Moore can do. Clemson has got a lot of hype around them this year. They're the clear front runners of Tank Conference without a doubt in my mind because of how much talent they have, especially on that defensive front. That defensive line is just going to be death incarnate for a lot of these ACC teams. People like Florida State, they're off. Have you seen some of the footage of Florida State's line in practice? Both lines.
I have not. Yeah, actually, you're right. I have seen the footage. They're bouncing off of the fucking blocking sled. Like, not pushing it. They're bouncing off of it.
The literal death of the universe is coming for them when Clemson arrives. Oh, my goodness. They are going to absolutely massacre them. Now, JFKH, appreciate he's been a member for 3 months. Here's for the cake. Greatly appreciated, buddy. Here's LSU at 9. Of course, like we mentioned before, a lot of hype around them. It's just all dependent on if Brian Kelly can get his fist out of his own ass. But how much money are you willing to bet on that being the case?
I mean, it's not so much also Brian Kelly getting the fist out of his own ass. It's the media, getting their mouths off of his lips. Like, there's not much. They're kissing up to LSU, I think. So I've heard some people be like, "Oh, we got to kiss up to LSU to make Bama's schedule look better." I don't even know if they play in fucking Bama this year, to be honest with you. But a lot of these guys I look at on here, LSU is one of them where it's like, okay, what is so good about LSU? What do they got going into the season that makes them top 10 worthy? Just the fact that they're in the SEC? I don't know.
Pretty much, because if you look at the coaches poll and who's in it from each conference, they've got 1 G5 rep, that of course being Boise State. Then they got 3, I think it's 3 ACC reps. Then they've got 6 Big Ten reps. They've got, I think 4. I think it's 4 Big 12 reps because, they've got the Texas Tech, BYU, Iowa State, and then Arizona State there at 11.
Yep.
They have 9 SEC teams here in the top 25 of the coaches poll. So
the glazing is so real right now for the SEC. It's so real. Now, granted, I mean, the Big Ten's going to Big Ten. I was happy to see Illinois is in there trying to, bump up the numbers besides Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan and Oregon again. Like, hey, Indiana's there. Illinois is there. Don't know why Indiana is ranked above or below Illinois, but hey, what the fuck? I guess it's just kind of bullshit after you get to 12.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Here's Ethan Black, the $2 super chat. Here's for the start of our great streamcast. Appreciate you being on, buddy. Arizona State at 11, I think, is a little bit surprising considering losing Cam Skibbity. I figured they'd go a little bit further back, but seems that they have a lot of favoritism towards them. I do love Sam Leavitt. I think he's a really good quarterback.
Yeah, Sam Leavitt, and then it was Jordan Tyson, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah, that 1-2 combo is going to be deadly in the Big 12 play. We could talk about Kansas State. We could talk about Iowa State, Formageddon in Ireland, but we failed to leave out how good Sam Leavitt really is for Arizona State. Like, if there's a Big 12 title game I'm honestly thinking of, it's going to be Texas Tech against Arizona State. And I do think that State's going to have enough to push through to get to the finish line and actually, win the conference back-to-back, but that's going to depend, honestly, on how they are able to replace Cam Scatterbo. Levitt's going to need to rely on other people besides Jordan Tyson. How well is that defense going to hold up against other Big 12 opponents? It's going to be a lot of question marks. I do think they are the strongest looking Big 12 team coming into the season, but just because you look the strongest again doesn't mean that you are.
Right, exactly. I do think it's interesting, a lot of these top 25s that I've seen, I saw one today that had South Carolina unranked. They just kicked South Carolina entirely out of it.
That's stupid.
That's mind-boggling. I mean, that is absolutely insane. And I think it was the same one that had Florida in the top 5. And I'm like, are we being real right now? Are we in the same dimension, or are you somewhere far, far away that we don't see? Is this part of the Star Wars shit universe? What's going on here? But I mean,
South Carolina by fucking far, especially with that strong ass finish they had last season. I don't think anybody in their right mind would think that this team is going to be anything less but deadly. Lenora Sellers, be coming back at quarterback this season. He's only going to be better than what he was last season. Last season was pretty goddamn good. So you can take that into account. You got Nick Harbor coming back at wide receiver as well for them, the junior wide receiver. You got other guys named Jerry Brown, Mazeo Bennett Jr. that got a lot of potential and could be really good. Maybe they might be shooting them down a little bit just because of the fact that their line is pretty much a full rebuild project, and the defense has a lot of new faces. But even still, it's not like their schedule is absolutely lethal. I think the hardest game they got is Alabama and Clemson, and that's it. Those are the two biggest opponents they have. LSU too, but those are the ones I look at. I'm like, those are going to be real testers for the Gamecocks.
Oh yeah. Not JFKH with the $20 super chat. Much appreciated, buddy. Says here's for the new podcast, and thanks for Collage Football Chaos. Well, I appreciate you for being on here, buddy. That means a whole lot. Thank you, good sir. Here's the question that I have to ask. What are the odds of Boise State running it back and getting into the playoffs? Because they've got some talent. Of course, losing Genty Ball, that's going to be a huge part of that. Is obviously the biggest question mark. But they did pick up Malik Sherrod from the portal, and he was pretty good at Fresno State. So could they run? Right. I don't think they're going to do like they did last year and just have, I guess we'll call it Sherrod ball, where they just run down everybody's throat and then just win the game that way. But Maddox Madsen's coming back, the madman himself. He's going to be back for another year. They've got a lot of talent around him. I mean, I could see Boise State running it back and then making it into the playoffs with the G5 rep.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that happening, honestly. You look at the offense for Boise State, the biggest guy they lost is Ashton Genty. That's a killer. That is a killer. But the offense wasn't just the Ashton Genty show. Maddox Madsen did have really good command, and he's got, really good options at wide receiver that he can exploit. Going to be interesting to see if, the freshman running back Sire Gaines is able to step into that role and take over that mantle. He's got some really big shoes to fill. I think Boise State's got a reasonable chance, but it would not surprise me considering that they got Notre Dame on the road this year. I just remembered that. They got Notre Dame on the road. That's going to be where we really see if the Broncos can last, if they're going to make it. If you want me to be a bet man, I'm going to bet no, that Boise State doesn't make the playoffs again. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to pop out of the American and make a run for it. Maybe a Tulane, since they just got BYU in. But we'll see.
That's going to be a fun game, though, that Boise State Notre Dame game. That could be huge, because the new thing is a
top 10 matchup.
Yeah, exactly. What everybody's talking about now is the fact that Notre Dame appears to just continuously be winning and getting more reasons to stay independent and stay away from a conference, because now they don't lose out on the opportunity to get a first round bye because there's no more conference buys. Even if we win the conference, you're not guaranteed to get a first round bye. So Notre Dame can win out with an easy schedule, go 12-0 or 11-1, and then still make the top 4 and rest for a week. So
I mean, it's possible, but it kind of goes back to, okay, who the fuck is going to actually knock Notre Dame back down a peg? Because they played really good last year. They started off fucking raw as shit and got hot at the end, but they also continue to have a ton of turnover on their roster year in, year out. When you go from season to season, they always got new quarterbacks. They always got a new wide receiver core. They always got new guys up front. Granted, they can always recruit the big boys, but it's a new team every single year. And as we know from Florida State, as I damn well know from Florida State, that's not always a good thing. Marcus Freeman's a good coach. I mean, he could take a roster and really make it work, but you can't just keep hitting home runs every time you go up the plate. Eventually, you're going to strike out somewhere. I'm saying they go 6-6, 5-7, but like a 9-3 season, I could easily see for them this year.
Right. Now, see, this is unnecessary. Here's $6, one for each coach Tennessee has had since their last title. All pain and agony over here. Appreciate the $6 super chat, though.
Well played, sir.
I'll tell you, this is something I thought was really interesting. Notre Dame's schedule, we talked about how like Notre Dame, like they're playing an easy schedule and all that. They have, in my mind, one of the toughest out of any power team by a significant margin. I'm going to put it up here on the screen in just a second.
Yeah, I just pulled it up over here.
It is. It's a tough schedule.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. Looking at the schedule, I won't be mad if Notre Dame if they lose one game if they're still top 5. I won't be mad about it because it's not easy.
Look at this. This is tough. I know, they don't have to play in a conference championship, and that does take away a little bit of the spark. But even in the non-Power 5 teams, they got to play Boise State at home, Navy at home. Those aren't gimmies. Those are two teams from the G5 that are not bad teams. And considering what Northern Illinois did to you last year, there are no gimmies on this schedule. I think we all know that to be the case.
But you got to play at Miami to start the season. You got a rematch against A&M that they're going to want to win. You got to go to Arkansas, which we know damn well, and from last season, Woo Pig Soo-Wee, that they'll take your ass to Hog City in a hurry if you're not careful.
Oh, yeah, pig time. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and then, they got to play USC. That's always a supercharged matchup. So it's going to be a tough one. They'll get some gimmies at the end of the season, Pitt, Stanford, Syracuse, but that front half is stacked.
Oh, yeah. No, they've got some tough ones on here. And I think – I do think they're going to lose one of these, and in my mind, I feel like it's going to be Pitt. I think Pitt's going to beat them. I'm one of these guys that has a lot of hope on Pitt this year. They're a sleeper for me. I really like their roster. I feel like if Holstein can stay healthy, then that team right there is going to be extremely stacked. But that's the big question right there. Can Eli Holstein stay healthy throughout the season and not get injured the moment he touches the twig? That's the question that everybody's trying to ask. But if he can, they're going to be a strong team this year.
I can see it. They got. I'm going back to my reference book here. I can see Pitt making a run, potentially. I don't know about an ACC title, obviously, but they could definitely be a pain in the ass. The majority of their starters are back on defense. You mentioned Eli Holstein, Desmond Reed, Kenny Johnson, Raphael Williams is back at wide receiver. Most of your line is back. It's overall the core of the team is about the same as it was last season. I guess it's going to come down to how much depth are they going to have, towards the tail end.
Exactly. But yeah, no, obviously none of these games are a gimme. I think they're going to lose one. If they lose 2, then, they'll be out of a bye. But this is a schedule. There's no gimmies on here, so they can't just blast through it like they've been doing all these other years.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. If Notre Dame loses 2 games, I think they're actually going to be out of the playoff because the other conferences have the conference championship to fall back on, to bump Notre Dame down a few notches. And all it will take is a lower seed say, oh, I don't know, SMU making another run late in the season, potentially looking really good in an ACC title game, knocking somebody back a few pegs, say, because just like, I don't know, Alabama. I know Alabama had 3 losses because of the stroke in Norman, but Notre Dame, if they have 2 bad losses, let's say they go and it gets smoked by Miami, smoked by A&M, one of those games, and they lose another, it's going to be bad times in South Bend.
Yeah, it's going to raise some huge questions, because if they do go 10-2 and you have a bunch of teams, like say the last spot comes down to a 10-2 Notre Dame or a 10-3 ACC championship runner-up, which one would you put in there? Yeah. Like, do you give Notre Dame do you give the loser of the ACC a benefit of the doubt for at least playing in that game? Because then why would you want to play in a conference championship? You know what I mean? Because by that point, you're basically saying that it's useless. And if you dare lose that game, then you're going to face the consequences for it. So in that scenario, I could actually see them putting in SMU over Notre Dame, but only if it gets to that point.
We're already treading on that line. The conference championships are in danger of becoming extinct because of this question. What's the point of playing a conference championship game if they do decide to rework the playoffs to 16 teams and guarantee automatic buys for teams? Why the fuck would you play a game? It's not like basketball where you can go play a whole season, crown a regular season champion, and then go play a tournament and crown a tournament champion. And that's the one that goes to March Madness because you played a tournament. You can't do that with football. It's way more physical of a sport. You can't play a football game every 2 days. So what are you going to do here? Right? You got to go with the guys that are the freshest at this point. And you got to go, okay, if you win the conference, congratulations, you win the season here. Have your first round bye and take a seat. We'll have the lower guys, your 3 and 4 seeds, battle it out for seeding and supremacy. And then you're going to have an advantage to the conference winners. But then that raises the question, okay, what about the guys like the ACC that only they get 2 automatic buys? What the fuck are they going to do? You're going to play a conference title and just beat the shit out of each other only to get pecked to death by the fucking guys that sat out last week? No, you wouldn't do that. Makes no damn sense.
If we're talking about a scenario where these football teams are having to play almost up to 20 games and during a football season, then by the time the playoffs begin, all these teams are going to be riddled with so many injuries, they aren't even going to be able to field a team.
Yeah, exactly. Like I hear people talk about how they want these schools to be more like the NFL. No, you fucking don't. No, you don't want it to be like the NFL because the NFL fucking sucks. Sorry, I'm going to say it, but I'm a college football guy. The NFL sucks. You know why? They add more games because guess what that means? Money. Money talks, bullshit walks. All right.
Hell, and half of those games, if you're talking about a team like, this is an example here, by the way, the New Orleans Saints are like, the New Orleans Saints are like 14-2 heading into their last game of the season. And it's never going to happen. Let's just make that clear. But if they did, and they're like 14-2 playing against, your like shitty 3-win Falcons team or something like that, you're not going to put in your starters for that. It's basically a useless game. The only reason that would be happening is because it's on your schedule. They could just forfeit that if they wanted to. It's literally just a glorified scrimmage for the Saints in that scenario. And if we get to a point where we're playing that many games in college football, then even these conference championship games are just going to become more of that, glorified scrimmages or ways for the fans to flex. Hey, we won the conference. Go cool. Nobody gives a shit. Look at Oregon last year. They won the Big Ten. You think they're still bragging about that right now?
Fuck, yes, no, they're not. They ran into the buzzsaw known as Ohio State. And to make it clear, we're not only talking about conference championships, we're also going to talk about like bowl games. Don't tell me you've already forgotten about the worst Orange Bowl to ever be played because of the NIL and transfer portal bullshit between Georgia and Florida State a couple years ago. I still haven't forgiven the fucking NCAA and the College Football Playoff Committee for allowing that shitstorm to happen. because that's an embarrassment. That's basically like Bush League bullshit that we saw on a professional football field in Miami, Florida a couple years back. And I still haven't seen what the solution is to avoid situations like that going forward. Are you actually going to pay these kids NIL money to play in their bowl game and not skip the draft? Are you going to put a contract in front of them as a part of their player agreement that they have to play every single game that they have agreed to play with the school, and they cannot skip a game because of draft reasons? Then that should be mandated by somebody. But guess what? Until you put a college football commissioner in place, it's really hard to get a centralized rule system about any of this shit.
Well, that's another thing, is that people say, oh, I hate that college football is slowly turning into the NFL. And my response to that would be, no, it is not the NFL. In fact, it is far, far worse than the NFL, because in the NFL, you have all these players that are signed up to these teams. They have contracts to adhere to. They can't just suddenly go willy-nilly and say, hey, fuck this. I don't like this school. So you know what? I like this program. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to walk on out of here. I'll see you guys next year. No, they can't do that. But in college, yeah, sure. And on top of that, you're granted an extra year of eligibility for it. Okay, McCormick, you're telling me you want your 9th year in college? Well, golly gee, let's get you in here. You might be 32 years old and basically can be these kids' dads, but sure, get you another year of eligibility. It's that shit that pisses me off so much. And, I hear people say that's like Tennessee's fault that the NCAA hasn't done anything about it. But the NCAA has been getting pushed around well before the whole Tennessee lawsuit happened. Hell, look what happened to Michigan. Michigan flat out cheated as proof of Connor Stallions to get to that point with all the recruits, all the playbooks, everything like that. They did a textbook cheating moment thing, and the NCAA didn't even do it. They didn't even punish them. The only people that punished them were the Big Ten, and they basically gave them a slap on the wrist saying, here, now you can't have your coach in here for 3 shitty, meaningless games.
For real.
Yeah.
What tough shit. Was that?
It wasn't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It was. It would be like getting banned on Twitch on your day off. Like are we being real right now? It's sad.
I'm gonna just. I was on the Ohio podcast last night. Go follow those guys, by the way. Really good guys. We talked about the Buckeyes a little bit, and one viewer asked me a question during the podcast, which is like, Red, when are you gonna make a video about Connor Stallions? And at the time, I said I would love to make a video about Connor Stallions, but I'm kind of waiting on more of this stuff to kind of parse itself out and figure it out. And then I kind of thought about it today, and I'm like, what the fuck is there to talk about? Nothing's happened. Like, okay, Connor Stallions, he allegedly walked onto the Central Michigan sideline. He stole signs from other teams to help Michigan win football games. Okay, what was the result of that? Nothing. Fucking nothing happened. Michigan still won a national title. The banner is hanging in Ann Arbor right now. I seen it with my own 2 fucking eyes too, and nothing happened. We're still waiting on the NCAA to do something about it, but they can't because they've had their legs chopped off thanks to getting their asses sued by every team worth a shit in the country.
Mm-hmm. They are. They're complete and total pushovers. They won't do anything, nor will they ever will. It feels like. A couple of years ago, I worked for Mark Rogers, the voice of college football over there, and they do like shows every single week talking about and they do one for like Ohio State, and the Ohio State guys on there. No shade to them, they do a great job, but they seem to sort of it's become a clickbait thing now with Connor Stallions. And they've been doing it's been a thing for like 2 years now where people will put, Connor Stallions getting ready for punishment, Michigan in trouble. And then you'll click on it, it'll be like a 15-minute video basically with guys saying, well, at some point in the distant future, I don't know when, might happen before 2030. It might happen before 2030. Michigan's cheating may or may not get addressed by the NCAA. There may or may not be punishments that may or may not go. And no, That's never happening, at least not from my perspective. It's like when Florida State fans talk about how they're getting ready to leave the ACC for the Big Ten or the SEC. And they've been saying it ever since conference expansion was even talked about back when Texas and Oklahoma first announced it. They said Florida State's getting ready to sign these contracts, get out of the conference. They're going to another one. And then you'll listen to them week by week, and they do the same thing. Okay, well, they're going to be out of the ACC by the start of 2023. Nothing happens. You go through the entire season, they'll be out of the ACC before the end of this season. Then nothing happens. And now they're doing it again. Oh, we're definitely this time for the 15th time, we're leaving the ACC this time. And it just like, shut up.
And then they settle with the ACC with Clemson, and they agree to stay in the conference for however much longer that the conference is going to have their deal with ESPN, because their boosters wouldn't support a $500 million buyout on a case that they knew they were going to lose. That's the real story.
Exactly. I'm going to feel so bad for like Central Michigan, because we've already seen articles about how like the NCAA and them are like potentially investigating Central Michigan. And that would be such bullshit if they were too scared to punish Michigan. So you know what they did? All right, we're going to go after the lower weight program, the one that was just kind of floating in the abyss. Now they're the ones in trouble.
Yeah, we're going to go and slap the Wolverines on the list and be like, no, don't do that again. No, you bad. No. And then go to Central Michigan and be like, fuck you, whack. Exactly. We're going to lay the fucking hammer on them. It is such bullshit. But at the other end of the court, on the other side of the coin, you got to think about it like, okay, but why was Connor Stalions in official Michigan staff gear, Central Michigan staff gear, on the sidelines of a Central Michigan game? Why was that allowed to happen? Right? So on the one hand, you want to be like, no, the little school shouldn't be getting his shit wrecked by the NCAA for Michigan. But why was it allowed to happen? Right?
No, I just think there should be fair and equal treatment. The NCAA is the governing body of the entire sport, the entire FBS, not just part of the FBS, not just the power teams, not just the G5 teams, the entire FBS, which includes both Michigan and Central Michigan. Both teams have been already confirmed to do what they've been doing with Connor Stalions. If you're going to apply punishments to one or the other, you got to do it equally. Punish them for what they did and then move the hell on. And if you actually do, then maybe all this NIL shit will stop, because, you know, what's funny is that they've still got these rules in place regarding NIL. Oh, you can't do this. They do this. And all these SEC teams and everybody else are pretty much looking at them saying, fuck you. And then they do it anyway. And the NCAA just sits there and just takes it. They literally just take it. They don't do jack diddly doo-dah squat about it. So until something does happen, which I don't think ever is going to happen, this is just going to continue to be what's been going on. The continuous buy-in rosters.
The NCAA had the balls to do of anything of note to a major program. God, when the fuck was that? The last time they went after the Hurricanes, maybe?
Probably.
That's probably the last time they tried to do anything, and then that went over like a wet balloon, right? Like a lead balloon. It was so flaccid what they did to the Hurricanes in 2010 for their bullshit that happened. I don't remember what all happened on there, because they got 4 years of probation for basically nothing. Penn State is the exception, but that was deserved, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like strict NCAA violations here. And like, I would say that it's been well over a decade since the NCAA has really gone after a major program at this point for doing literally anything of note, because they keep getting their legs cut off by lawsuits and NIL and all this and that. And they're just trying to disassociate themselves from everything. Yeah. I know people are talking about SMU in the chat and USC. I'm talking about like laying the book within the last 20 years. USC wasn't the last 20 years.
I was going to say Ole Miss did get hit pretty hard after Laramie Tunsil did what he did and came out and told everybody, yeah, they paid me. And then after the NCAA investigated them, yeah, they got hit pretty hard. I think it was a 2-year bowl ban. I think like 4 years of probation, bunch of scholarship losses. They did the same thing too to Missouri for like a minor, like a minor issue. It was something to do with books. That's what it was. That's something funny about the SEC is that they're the only. They're like the only college football conference that can get in trouble for academic reasons because most of the people are too stupid to read. Mr. Cynical, $5 super chat, much appreciated, says the NCAA laying the smackdown on CM. That's like the victim of break-in getting booked because the robber cut their body breaking into the house.
It's like
pretty on point.
It's like dropping a nuke on that hill for sure. It is a lot.
Very on point with that one. But pretty much back to what we were saying. Yeah, no, it's been a long time since the NCAA has actually gone hard on anybody. I think at this point, with the fact that we've got counter lawsuits and everything like that, I just don't see it happening ever at all. I think I think now it's going to be up to the conferences whether or not they want to punish anybody.
No, because you can't rely on the conferences to police themselves because they're going to promote their best teams to be the best to compete against other conferences. The way this needs to happen, and again, check out the Ohio podcast for my interview last night with those guys over there. We talked a little bit about this, actually. I said on air that the only way that college football is going to truly be able to police itself is if all of the conference commissioners get together and elect one outsider, not one of their own, an outsider to come in and become the commissioner of college football to oversee this shit, because that is exactly what Major League Baseball had to do when the Black Sox scandal happened in 1919. None of the owners were going to vote for each other, so they hired a guy on the outside to come in and lay down the law. And he did by banning half of the fucking White Sox that season that went betting on baseball. You want someone to come in here and actually lay down the rule of law? Get an outsider that doesn't have to answer everybody and everybody answers to him. But they won't do that because they don't feel like they have to do that because the bottom line is not being affected, unlike what happened in the Black Sox scandal, because that nearly killed baseball. Mm-hmm. We don't have a controversy yet that's going to nearly kill college football that would force the issue. But that's the only way it's going to happen, in my mind, in the next 5 years, if a controversy so fucking massive that it threatens the integrity of all of college football that it would cause a commissioner to be elected. And for better or for worse, that's what it's going to take.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was really funny about, like, the NCAA has hardly done anything to address all of the NIL stuff, even though everybody's been saying that they should. And now you've got the literal president of the United States doing more to fix that, or at least trying to do more to fix that than the NCAA is. The governing body that's in charge of all of this is doing less than the freaking president of the United States. So it's absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. I have a lot of things I could say about that executive order, but it's like I think I said the other day, it's basically like you're just putting a rubber stamp on something. It really means nothing.
It really doesn't. Nobody's going to be really all that much affected by it because they're all being paid through third parties anyway.
No, I mean, Teddy Roosevelt did far more to help college football than Trump ever did.
No kidding. So this is something else I want to pull up. We're going to get off the topic of the NCAA because as long as we keep talking about it, we're just going to keep pissing ourselves off because of freaking
we're pissing ourselves laughing, one or the other.
Yeah, sandpaper condom ass organization ain't going to do much of anything about it. So here's something I thought I saw this today that was also interesting. I think we're going to get more into this next week because we're talking about coaches that are sort of on the hot seat or really have to prove themselves the most going into 2025. And here's some of the names that I saw pop up. And a lot of these aren't really all that surprising. I
hope that's not ranked in order. I really hope that's not ranked in order because I can disagree right now.
I think it is, but I do disagree with it. These are just some of the names that I saw. So from your hot seat list, you got, of course, at the top there, Billy Napier. Yeah, good old Florida man. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do. I think if they don't answer this year, then he could be in a lot of trouble. But then you got those bottom three right there in the SEC: Brent Venables, Hugh Freeze, Sam Pittman. All three of those guys, I think, are in some deep shit. And if they have another rough year this season, pretty much all of them are going to be gone if they have a rough year. But yeah, Brent Brennan was extreme. Brent Brennan had he had a McMillan with him, and he still wasn't able to do shit. So yeah, he's got some answers to adhere to. Brent Pry from Virginia Tech. That's one. Mike Loxley, I think, is one that I think for certain of any coach, he's the one I know that's going to be gone this year. I'm extremely confident in that.
Yeah, I was going to say Loxley, I believe, is going to be right there around the 2 and 3 mark. I mean, here's the thing. He's helped Maryland have some pretty successful seasons over the last couple of years, but once you took out Talia Tagovailoa from the quarterback of the Maryland Terrapins, the team completely fell apart, and that was the only thing that they had going for them at that point. I would say that he's definitely up there. If they don't go bowling, he's not going to be around next season. Sonny Cumbie from Louisiana Tech is a dead man walking. He is a dead fucking man walking. He has done absolutely fuck all with the Bulldogs. He's going to be gone halfway through the season, I'm willing to bet. But you know a name that's not on here that I'm honestly wondering why they left out? Where the fuck is Mike Norvell? If Florida State doesn't go bowling, he's gone. Like, there shouldn't be a shadow of a doubt. If Mike Norvell does not take the Seminoles bowling this season, he's gone, period.
Well, I think that's because of the buyout, because don't forget they gave Mike Norvell an extension after the end of 2023, like a big time extension. So if you fire, I'm saying no, I agree. But if they fire him, they're going to be talking a Jimbo Fisher level buyout. It's going to take. It could be the biggest buyout in college football history. So they are. It's if they do have another disastrous season, they could go through with it, but I think that's the main reason why he's not on here is because of how much that buyout.
They might.
It's possible.
They gotta play Clemson, Miami, and Alabama.
That's another name right there.
3 losses.
Base 2002 with the $2 super chat. He put up a good one here. He says that he thinks Dave Doeren will get fired this year. I agree. There are a couple of ACC coaches that are in some big time trouble, and I think he's at the top of the list because NC State has just been slowly degrading over the course of these last few years. And the worst part for them is, they ended out the season last year losing to Eastern Michigan. Guess who they faced at the start of this year? East Carolina, not East Michigan.
Wait,
my bad. I said Eastern Michigan. I meant East Carolina. My bad. But yeah, East Carolina. No. I don't even think Eastern Michigan went to a bowl. No, East Carolina. So East Carolina beat him at the end of last year in the bowl game, and now they face each other again at the start of this year. If he loses that game, he won't make it farther. I don't think he makes it past October.
No,
because of how brutal their schedule is.
Yeah, another name that I could easily see be getting canned at the end of the season, just in a boat right in the chat, just brought him up, Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. I think he could also be on the way out. Now, he's got a little bit of an excuse, though. Wisconsin arguably has the toughest freaking schedule in college football this season, bar none. They got to play Alabama, they got to play Oregon, they got to play Penn State, they got to play Ohio State, they got to play Michigan. I think they got to play Michigan. I can't remember if they do, but they got like 5 games they're guaranteed to lose 100%. So the expectation is if they could just go 500, if we could just win 6 games and make it bowl, it's a huge win for the program. And if they go 5-7, it's like, okay, it was a really hard schedule. But if they go 4-8, 3-9, get the fuck out of here, Luke Fickell. It's over, buddy.
I don't think he makes it if he doesn't go to a bowl. If they go 5-7, I don't think he's making it because
again, it's the toughest schedule in college football Wisconsin has, and they are a mess. They had Tyler Van Dyke at quarterback for like a game and a half, and then he tore his ACL against Alabama, and then everything imploded. They got a new offensive coordinator coming in, a lot of new faces, a lot of transfers out and in. It's an unstable team, and I don't know if sacking Luke Fickell would be the right move because he's really a good coach. Luke Fickell really is. I don't have nothing but nice things to say about the guy. He just doesn't fit in Wisconsin. Wisconsin needs a steadying force right now, and I don't think Fickell's going to be able to do that. I think it would be in the best interest of everybody if he left. Wisconsin and started over somewhere else. Like maybe go back to Cincinnati when they fire Scott Satterfield.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Go back to Cincinnati. But now, I mean, they're in the Big 12, so who knows how that's going to pan out. But yeah, back to Fickell. I think, when you downgrade from quarterback in terms of Tyler Van Dyke, you've done something wrong. And that's exactly what he did. Because I think Billy Edwards is worse off than Tyler Van Dyke was. He might be the healthier quarterback, but the dude he looked absolutely terrible at Maryland. And you can chop that up to just Maryland having a bad offense in general or no weapons around him, but neither does Wisconsin. And they're gonna have to do this thing like they did with remember a couple of years ago under Iowa with Brian Ferentz. They said at the end of the year, if Iowa doesn't have an average of 25 points a game, then Brian Ferentz is out. They're going to have to do that with Wisconsin. If Wisconsin doesn't have an average of 25 or more points in a game by the end of the year or like halfway through the year, then Fickell's gone. I think that's what they're going to have to do because their offense has looked absolutely abysmal as of late. And about the whole tough schedule thing, eventually that tough schedule excuse is going to run out and you're going to have to win some games, because that's what you're there for. You're going to have to win games. That tough schedule excuse can only get you so far. You're going to have to win some of these tough games if you want to be kept around. And the fact that you're not able to do that. And even if you lose, the higher echelon games, looking at what Wisconsin's schedule right now, I can pull it up on the screen for you, but
definitely pull it up. It's a murderer's row. It's the equivalent of looking at a schedule, and the schedule is a bunch of prison guards dressing up as a firing squad. You're going to get executed one way or another. Over.
Heat death of the universe. It feels like, but it's not entirely that. Of course, they do have some extremely brutal games on their schedule. Nobody's denying that. And they do have one of the hardest schedules, but. Okay. So here's their schedule. There, of course, even if you lose to Alabama, Michigan, Oregon, and then you drop one against Indiana or Illinois, that's 4 losses. State. If you win the rest of those games, and Ohio State too, obviously. If you lose 5 games, go 7-5, I think that would be fine for Fickell. But that's the problem, though. He's not going to lose just those games. He's going to lose to Washington, probably Minnesota. I don't think he's going to win either one between Indiana or Illinois, and that would be the huge difference right there.
No, I could easily see, Alabama, Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, Indiana, Illinois. Jesus Christ, that's 7 losses. Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we'll know as a guarantee past October 11th whether or not he stays or goes, because Maryland and Iowa are must-win games for Fickell at this point. If you lose to either one of those teams, pretty much bowl eligibility is off the table, and that's exactly what Fickell needs in order to keep his job.
Iowa could be forgivable. As long as you beat Maryland. If they lose to Maryland on September 20th, he's getting the axe.
Bye-bye.
He's gone.
Bye-bye.
Send him up the river.
Straight to the Shadow Realm for you, buddy. You're back to the lobby.
That's going to be the big end right there. They got the bye week after that. That's the perfect opportunity to install the offensive coordinator as your temporary head coach and just say, fuck it, we're restarting everything. Another name that, if we pull that back up, that I didn't see on there, Mike Gundy. Do you think the Cowboys are ready to move on from Mike Gundy yet?
Mike Gundy was not on the list.
Blew it last year. 3-9, 0-9 in Big 12 play, I think it was. They didn't win a Big 12 game last year, and just blew it. They had Ollie Gordon, and Ollie Gordon was a fucking moron, of course, but they completely shat the bed with Ollie Gordon last year, and they had nothing to back him up. Everyone was hyping him up Heisman talent. They did fuck all with it.
Oh, no doubt. That was a flat overall,
0-9-12, like I thought. Thank you, your everyday Hell Knight. It was bad.
Well, I never expected them to be that terrible. That was one of the worst meltdowns I've ever seen.
It was god awful. Nobody saw that coming. And you could chalk it up to the Big 12 being an absolute, chaos machine last year, but you don't lose all 9 of your Big 12 games by just being a chaos machine.
Right.
And it's going to be a tough schedule for them too.
Yeah, I know. But here's the problem. Yeah, look, they do not get any breaks on this schedule. They get UT Martin to start the year, but after that, boy, oh boy, you have to go to Autzen Stadium to face off against the Ducks to start out. on September.
Why are you hurting yourself?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you get some
Holy
gimmies.
hell.
Like Tulsa's a win, Baylor could be a win, Houston's a win, Arizona's a win. So that's 4 wins right there. You could rattle off. You could still make bowl eligibility if you do enough there. And then you could sneak one away from UCF. That's 5. Now you just got to find number 6. Will Cincinnati be it? Maybe. You could get 6 wins in this schedule. You could. And you could sneak yourself into being, a faux contender, a pretender before you get your shit whacked by Kansas State or Iowa State on those last 3 games. But, I mean, they could be enough to, win a couple of conference games. But if they don't go bowling, I think they're going to get rid of them.
The Big 12 is just, exactly. I mean, it's just pure insanity this year because they could win. Like, all of these games here are winnable, except for Oregon. Yeah. All of these games are winnable. They're also all losable. Yeah, like, you can win all of these games here, but you could also lose them all. Baylor's a team I'm high on this year. They've got an incredible offense coming in.
Oh, I forgot about Baylor being good, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a shootout if Oklahoma State's going to have to win that game. But yeah, Arizona's bringing in some new guys on the roster. Houston, who knows how they're going to pan out. I don't know. Willie Fritz, Houston could be in some deep trouble this year. They could be in some deep ones.
Houston's one of those teams that I feel like they will either go 8-4 and lose a bowl game, or they will be 4-8 and fire their head coach out of a cannon. But hey. Mm-hmm. Don't sleep on UT Martin. The Skyhawks are going to be something this year.
Oh boy. Is it? Oh my gosh. I mean, we laugh at stuff like this, but it's not out of the realm of possibility for some insane bullshit to happen. Look at somebody mentioned this earlier. Another name on the list right now, Mark Stoops from Kentucky. I think the leash is starting to thin with him, because a lot of people are starting to really lose their minds with especially the whole motivated Mark Stoops. If he runs around with the whole motivated thing and then winds up losing to Toledo week 1, oh my goodness, because Toledo's not bad. They're not a bad team. Remember Toledo's what they did. Yeah. Remember what they did to Mississippi State. Straight up erase them off the face of the earth. If Kentucky loses to Toledo week 1, oh boy, how motivated is Mark Stoops going to be there?
He's going to be motivated to get the fuck out of Lexington. That's for sure.
That's exactly right. JCR 1216 with the $2 super chat says the Charlotte 49ers are going to win the American. Yeah, we'll be rooting for you.
Crack. Stop smoking the crack.
We'll be rooting for you, but yeah. I'll tell you one team that is going to be suffering this year, and it's not a Power 5 team, but it is one team that I think is going to be really suffering this season. Marshall got shafted so bad through the transfer portal. Nobody else got a worse shaft than they did.
They got shafted so hard. They won the conference, lost their head coach, and the rest of the team with it. And they couldn't even go bowling.
Everybody. Yeah. I think they lost like 60. I think it was up to 70 players. Their head coach, I think their assistant coaches ran out of there.
They lost their head coach, assistant coaches, 60-something players, and they couldn't field a team for their bowl game. Army had to go play fucking Tulsa, and they were 5-7.
Mm-hmm. So I think Marshall, I think they're going to be a really, really bad team this year, unfortunately, because they don't deserve it, but they're going to be unrecognizable from the team that they had last year. And the same could be the case for the other team that lost as many transfers as they did, West Virginia. The Mountaineers with the pickup of Rich Rodriguez now the difference between those two teams is the fact that Rich Rod actually picked up talent. Marshall didn't pick up a bucket of shit. So I don't know. I don't know what Marshall's going to do.
Well, you got to keep in mind, Rich Rod's coming into a brand new situation. He pretty much just tore West Virginia down to the studs and said, all right, we're going to rebuild. It's bad when they're bringing in Pat White or West Virginia legend. What was his name? Pat White, I think it was, from the 2007 team to motivate the squad by being an assistant coach and bringing in nostalgia, because that's like, being like a buffer for the pain that's going to come from this season. So last coach I want to point out, Lincoln Riley, USC.
You think so?
That is a name. I think so. I think this is the make it or break it year for Lincoln Riley. If they don't take a step forward, I think they're going to tear it down and build it back up with somebody else, because USC does not like being mid. They do not. They're in the middle of fucking Hollywood, for God's sake. That's the only thing. Hollywood and the Coliseum are the only two things bringing players to USC right now. Their current on-field product, fuck no. Once they lost Caleb Williams, man, it's like nothing was there. Lincoln Riley pretty much just took what was good at Oklahoma, brought it to USC, and was praying it would win a national title. And when it didn't, he had no backup plan. He's a fraud. I have said from day one, the dude is a fucking fraud. I don't like him. I don't like his coaching style. I don't like the way he treats his fucking team. I don't like the way he treated Oklahoma either. And you know what? I think at the end of the season, his ass is going to be touching grass, because it's going to be thrown out of the fucking building when they go 5-7.
I'm telling you what, that would make for a legendary set of videos, because if that does happen, if Lincoln Riley does get canned and USC ends up bombing that hard, that's probably your clown of the season for 2025 right there. Because I don't think about all the shit he was saying over this offseason. Remember, he didn't have a spring game, and he flat out said fuck the fans when he did. He literally came out and said, what's the purpose of a spring game other than to entertain the fans? The fans are the one paying for all your bullshit, Lincoln Riley.
You got a 90,000-seat stadium to fill, Lincoln. How much of those seats do you want to have an ass in it? You want an ass every 16 inches this season? Cater to the fucking fans.
Well, they never fill their stadium anyway, but literally saying that and talking about the fans like that is straight up taking your fist and just going, that's exactly what he did right there. Why would you say that? And so now if you lose the support of the fans, the ones supporting you, and then you lose a bunch of games, so now you've lost the support of the administration? Yeah, he probably is canned. Boy, there's your clown of the season. I'd have to update the Lincoln Riley experience if that ever happens. Viper Technician, $5 super chat, appreciate it, says Kyle Whittingham. Does Utah hire Jason Ecker, promote Beck? Well, I don't know if they'll fire Kyle Whittingham, because he's done things at Utah that no other coach has been able to do.
He's got a lot of grace.
Yeah, he won them the conference. You know, that's one thing right there. Did Oklahoma State even win the conference under Mike Gundy? I don't think they did.
Not to mention Utah is currently rebuilding after their quarterback. Cam Rising is probably one of the saddest stories of college football the last 2 years. Dude had so much potential. I remember watching him in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State thinking, wow, this guy is going to be a problem for the Pac-12. And he just couldn't stay healthy. Dude just kept getting injured. It wouldn't even be like a massive contact. It would just be the littlest things. He just wouldn't avoid the injury bug, and he lost his career because of it. And it really hurt Utah because they were trying to build the offense around him. And because of that, I feel like they got a chance to fully separate themselves from the Cam Rising era, start fresh. And because of that, there's going to be some growing pains this season.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't see them letting him go, especially with the success the coach has had, Whittingham has had there. They'll give him plenty of leeway to just, okay, well, we're going to let you grow this because you've done it for us before. You can do it again.
Right. Well, base 2002 with the $5 super chat says, my sleeper clown of the year would be Deion Sanders in Colorado if they have a bad year. I don't think, I don't think that's going to happen. No, not for clown of the season. I thought you said he'd get fired at the end of the year, and my response to that would be if he does leave, it's going to be at his own volition, not because they fired him. But about the whole clown of the season thing, I don't think that's happening. Even if they did have a bad year, I just can't bring myself to do that.
Absolutely
of the whole cancer
not.
Situation.
I was going to mention that, like, dude just got done fighting cancer. Like, I'm not high on Deion Sanders. I made a video on Deion when my channel was first starting to take off almost 2 years ago, and I talked about how I thought he was kind of like all flash, no substance, and this team is all flash, no substance, and that's usually been the case. Travis Hunter is really the only thing Colorado's had. You know, you had Travis Hunter, the great Travis Hunter, They retired his number, and then they retired the number of the guy that carried his bags. That's all that Colorado had for the last 2 years. So now they got a brand new slate coming in. It's just like what's going on in Utah. They got a brand new slate, new offense, new personnel, all new transfers coming in. Once again, third straight year, not really much of a retention going on with Colorado. It's transfer you and trying to see if they can get something together and make it work. I don't think that they're going to be bad. I think they're going to be good enough to make another bowl game, but I also do not see them making a lot of noise. They could possibly piss off a contender or two, but not be a contender themselves.
Right. I mean, they did bring in Cotton Salter from I think it was Liberty.
Yeah,
and he's a former Vol actually. But yeah, they brought him in, and he's a pretty good quarterback. He showed a lot of great stuff. Yeah.
Caden? I thought it was Caden Salter.
Oh, I thought your pronunciation. I have no idea. It could have been that. I don't know. I don't really care. The point is, they brought him in.
That drops on the 10th, man. I gotta get this shit right. I already got a bunch of bullshit for pronouncing Butler Binote's name Butler Bino in the Ohio State.
Go watch some highlights and you'll figure it out real quick. That's why I never even bothered. Whenever I talk about McMillan, the receiver from Arizona, I just use his last name.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Poke with the $10 super chat says, hoping to catch Utah overlooking the Pokes and Lairman upset Colorado and Boulder. That would be interesting, but I don't know. Again, going off of what Red said, I think Utah is going to have some growing pains, and I don't know if they're going to be able to pull off an upset like that. But I'd hope for it. Speaking of pulling off upsets in Boulder, they faced Georgia Tech week 1, and I think Colorado's the favorite going into that. That's, you're talking about one team having a great year and one having an year. That's the game right there to decide that for both of those teams. I'm high on Georgia Tech this year. I could definitely see the Yellow Jackets going into Boulder and knocking them off.
Yeah, I talked to my buddy Dan over on the Rambler podcast about 2 weeks back. We did a little discussion about the Georgia Tech coming up this season. I mean, they're going to be good. They're going to be a problem in the ACC. I'm not saying they're going to win the ACC, but they got a chance to really raise a lot of hell and cause some noise. So, Haynes King being back especially, they had a great defense last year. They were kind of seesaw back and forth. They were a little undercooked in some areas. They also laid an egg against they lost to Vanderbilt in the bowl game, right? They did, because then they gave out those stupid fucking rings for going 7-5 after losing the bowl game
I've ever seen in my life. What is wrong with you? They had Florida State on that too. They had Florida State on those. Why are you celebrating being a 2-10, beating a 2-10 team? What are you? What? 2-10 Florida State yourself. Woo! No.
Yeah, no. That was like, at the time we thought, oh my God, that's such a huge deal. Georgia Tech is for real. And then we got to week 3 and it's like, oh no, Florida State just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, Tech went out there and lost to Syracuse as well. So obviously that just, I don't know whether if that was just Georgia Tech not being as good as we thought or Florida State just being ass. And turns out the answer to that was both.
Well, to be fair, Syracuse was solid last year. Kyle McCord did good for them.
Yeah, he did. I think this year, though, I'm high on Pitt, like I mentioned before. Louisville is a team to watch for. Georgia Tech, obviously, as well. But I think all it takes for Georgia Tech to really kind of sneak in there and get into that spot would be for, obviously, Clemson or Miami to just screw themselves out of that spot, which is definitely possible. I could see either one of those teams just screwing themselves. More likely Miami, because I think Clemson is just so much talent on the defense that's going to bail them out in most situations. Miami doesn't have that. Yeah. Now Miami did do a lot of work through the portal, getting DBs, which is the main thing that they needed. Miami's defensive backfield last year was a complete another joke. Their secondary just got absolutely every single week. So good for them on actually getting to some defensive talent, but I don't think, it's not going to be nearly as intimidating as what Clemson's got.
Absolutely.
Troy Azak with the $5 super chat. He says, Buckeye fan here. I'm excited for August 30th. Should be a great game between Ohio State and Texas. By the way, Red, love your vid on the John Coop era.
Thank you very much, Troy. Appreciate you saying that, buddy. That was a lot of fun to make, and everybody's still asking me questions about that damn video. Actually, everyone's like, "Well, did you suffer through that in the end?" He's like, "Man, I'm 30. I'm not that fucking old." My first Ohio State game I remember watching was Coop's last against South Carolina in 2000. Like I I'm not that fucking old, but it's that era was just such a clusterfuck for Ohio State. I still don't understand how they allowed that to happen for so long.
Yeah,
and I wrote the damn video.
Crazy. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about that game, by the way. Ohio State and Texas, potential game of the century right there if the AP ranks them both number 1 and number 2. Oh, boy, that's going to be
Ohio State's the AP number 1, Texas is the AP number 2.
That could be the case. Could be. And, that game, that both of our games are happening at the same time. Tennessee and Ohio State both play at the same time, week 1. Mm-hmm. We could simulcast, but this, oh, boy. Both of us crashing out at the same time would be pure cinema. I'll say that much.
That would be chaos for the sake of chaos at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would be so fucking messed up.
Okay. JCR 12-16 with a take. I guess we'll call it a take. UNC dominates in year 1. Chapel Bill Natty. Yeah. Buddy.
If someone get that take out of the freezer and throw it in the oven, it is ice cold.
If you believe that, then I would recommend not watching this season because, Jordan Hudson's wife isn't doing much anything this year. Sorry to let you know.
Oh, Jordan Hudson's wife, you did not just fucking do that to old Bill. Oh,
no. Am I wrong? We've been watching him for the past few months getting bossed around. He's been getting pegged by this woman from the looks of it.
Oh, my. Okay, hold the fuck on.
What the was that?
And we wondered where all his Super Bowl rings went. They went on her fingers, not his.
It's the truth. The truth is there. I'm just trying to explain it the best way that I can.
All right.
But I do want to ask, what do you? I mean, I think I'm guessing you think Ohio State beats Texas week 1. I'm willing to bet that you think that to be the case.
You see, here's the thing between you and me, Squid. I, unlike you, am not a hopeless romantic for my team. I will not blindly believe 12-0. Hail to Brutus. No, I don't think that. I'm very realistic, and I am going to tell you right now, the quarterback race between Julian Salem and Lincoln Keenholz has been fierce. Keenholz just got the Iron Buckeye Award for how hard he worked during the offseason. So the quarterback situation is not determined yet. We're really not going to know who it's going to be probably until the week of the game at this point, considering how close it's been. They were trading good and bad practices at camp the other day, and a lot of people, the Ohio podcast guys, believe that Julian's not ready. From my conversation, he might not be ready for the spotlight. So it could be Lincoln Keenholz starting as quarterback for Ohio State week 1 against Texas instead of the highly touted freshman. But we got a really good defense. Sonny Styles is back again, and he's an absolute shit wrecker in the backfield. Our defense is a little raw on the line, but our offensive line, as always, is going to be great. And, of course, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, as long as we can get the ball to Jeremiah Smith or Carnell Tate, we're going to be fine. Fuck it. One of them is open down there somewhere. So I think we got a chance. It's going to be tough. The other thing is, how good is Arch going to be in that environment? Now that he's got the full reins, not just like a random game against UTSA or a one-off against Georgia in the SEC championship. No, full game. How is he going to play in one of the most intimidating environments in college football in the Horseshoe? 108,000 people yelling at you. Mm-hmm. It's going to be rough. It's going to be fucking rough.
They did you guys dirty, I think. In fact, they did the entirety of college football dirty by putting that game as a noon game. That does frustrate me. That is primetime night material. Something you put on NBC, and that does frustrate me that they did that.
College football fans are going to be wore out and wiped out, and they'll have their load blown before they could even get to the fucking 3:30 matchup.
Exactly. It's the Big Ten seems to treat Penn State with more respect than they do Ohio State when it comes to scheduling these games because, they got the Oregon game coming up too. Oregon at Penn State, they announced it's going to be a night game, 7:30 on NBC. Whiteout, I imagine. I mean,
yeah.
Boy, that's going to be a real tough one for Oregon.
And Penn State's really good this year.
Mm-hmm. Great
defense. Really good.
My only question with Penn State is the question that we have every year with them. what's their quarterback situation going to be like? Is Drew Aller actually going to be the quarterback they want him to be? Or is it going to be like every other year with Penn State quarterbacks where he just kind of, throws 100 yards a game, sometimes throws to a wide receiver a game or two, stuff like that?
I think that Drew Aller is going to do very well this season overall. But here's the thing. Drew Aller did pretty decent in the regular season until the playoffs, and then he outright disappeared. Except for the game against Boise State, he just vanished. So, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I think in a home environment, in a whiteout situation, yeah, I'd be betting on Penn State to take that one because Drew Aller is going to feel the power. But if you're asking like a neutral site game against somebody in the playoffs, because I don't see them not making the playoffs with everything I've read and everything I've heard. A neutral site game in the playoffs, that's where he's always struggled. And against like really tough opponents, he's not really been the one that struggles. James Franklin is the one that's always struggled. They can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. Well, guess what? You don't have to play Michigan this year. You just got to play Ohio State and Oregon. Have fun, buddy. See if you can at least beat one of them. And you got Ohio State in the shoe. Fuck you.
It seems that they have a lot of the similar issues that Tennessee has, but rather than being a road game issue, it's a big game issue with James Franklin, to where he is so afraid of making mistakes that he brings out the most vanilla-ass conservative offense that you can get on the table. And then in the moments that you don't need to do that, guess what? He flips the switch and suddenly they're super aggressive. It's like what they did with Notre Dame last year in the playoffs. They played it and they conservative, run the ball through your face type of offense the entire game. Sort of put the game on Tyler Warren's hands when it came to the passing game. And then the moment things got serious at the end of the game, it was a tie ball game. They're at their own 20. Oh, let's let Drew Aller sling it now. I'm sure he'll find an open receiver down the field, even though he has 0 receptions to any of them. And then, of course, he gave Notre Dame the win right there. So I feel like, it's playoff semifinal or bust for Penn State this year with what they have.
Oh, easily. If they don't do better than what they did last year, it's going to be considered a failure because this is the best Penn State's going to be for the next 2-3 years, bar none, no matter what happens. So if they fail this year, they're not going to be back for a while.
Yeah. I do want to get your thoughts. A team that I'm sort of high on this season, and you're not going to like it when I say it. I don't think you are, but I am high on him. Michigan. I think Michigan with Bryce Underwood. I think Bryce Underwood is already a better talent. He's a better talent than most of the quarterbacks Michigan has had since J.J. McCarthy. Now, does that mean they're going to win the Natty? No. Does that mean they're going to get anywhere close to it? Probably not. But they're a team that can win 9 games, maybe a 10th. They could hover around that playoff spot. I wouldn't like it either, especially if they beat Ohio State again. But that's just sometimes the way it goes. You can't deny the talent that Michigan has on defense, and if they have a quarterback, which they do, they can go some places. On top of that, they brought in Justice Haynes from Alabama, which is a really good running back. So, yeah. I know you'd love it if Michigan just went 0-12, and I could get on here and do that for you, but I know you're not going to say Georgia's going to go 0-12, so this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do. Sorry, my friend.
I invited you to my cabin in Gatlinburg, you son of a bitch. How could you?
And it was a great time too. We got to watch Florida State shit themselves again. Great time.
Talk business and watch Florida State be an ass. Yeah, that's
exactly. Great time.
Happy times.
Very happy. With a big old smile on my face. Well, it's about that time. We're about 90 minutes into the show. I guess it's about that time to go ahead and wrap it up and call it a night. Great first show, the FBS report. A lot of people came in tonight. I think we had almost 100 viewers at one point. So great show, great way to kick off. Times. Yeah, no, I saw 69 a bunch of times, and I was gonna. Well, when we were in the middle of talking about Jake Retzlaff, I had to hold myself back.
No.
I had to hold myself back when I did that. Yeah,
bro, you're as bad as me, and that's saying something.
Well, I see it when I call it when I see it. That's the way it goes. You know, it's like Jordan Hudson's wife over there, Bill Belichick. I have to call it the way I see it.
We're gonna get along swimmingly doing this show, brother. I can tell you.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you guys are able to tune along with us. Now, I will say this. It is not a 100% guarantee that we will be doing the show next week. And it is because next week, yes, Squidtard is going on vacation for yet another week. And I'll be gone, but I am bringing my laptop with me. So we should be able to run the show as we normally have tonight. But if something comes up or my laptop, bricks or anything like that, that's all I wanted to let you guys know. And of course, I'll let you guys know.
If something comes up, I'll just run the show myself and we'll do a live Q&A with everybody. If that's what needs to happen. Because if that's what needs to happen, I got no problem entertaining all you fuckers by myself. So, there will be a show. The show will go on, no matter if you got a brick laptop or not. There will be a show on your channel, on my channel. There will be a show. Yeah.
We've been entertaining y'all for years. I don't think me changing to a laptop for a week is going to change that. So I should be on here next week. I'll be streaming from somewhere in my condo, probably on the bed or something. I'll bring my old classic snowball microphone with me, like I used to have in the old days. And we'll rock with that and see how it goes.
Show up in your fucking bathrobe, sipping them.
Yeah, exactly. And then the following week, guess what? Yeah, exactly. But the following week, you know what we get to do? We get to talk about week 0. We get to give our predictions for the week 0 games. And then the chaos begins. So, guys, hope you all stick around in the future. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. You all are wonderful people. Thank you for tuning in to the FBS report. And FBS does not stand for what you think it does. Red, tell them what it stands for.
Stands for fucking bullshit.
And there's a whole lot of it in college football. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all next week. And, of course, power to Tardaria or whatever he says. Woo!
Sign up for the Red Army today.